Hey gang, welcome to Mzansi and USA News. Someone sent me this clip by JJ Tabane and asked my opinion on it. Well, here we go.
A government that says we want black economic empowerment, we want affirmative action, we want national health insurance so that there's no inequality. How are they going to get this right? Somebody was saying on radio, maybe it's just going to be a caretaker government for the next 5 years. Because how do you change the mindset of a DA that they hate black people? That they hate affirmative action. They hate it. You know, I'm not exaggerating when I say they hate it. They hate it with a passion. Right? You tell me how that's going to work. I'm all for a romantic situation of black and white together and what I feel like PJ Powers there with Sifi someone. You know, there's an answer, we'll find a way. I'm all for that. But practically, how is this going to work? And we were seeing this movie again, because you remember Bantu Holomisa and Rolf Meyer. Bantu Holomisa is a 20-year-old long dictator there in the UDM, tin pot dictator there. And then Rolf Meyer is maybe is a grainy analyst there. Now, apparently he's on beyond TV talking a lot about GNU and what have you. It fell apart because you need more than just romance of black and white to change the lives of people. And it's sad that black parties couldn't just get it together and say, hey guys, it's been 30 years, we don't have the land, we don't have the economy, we don't have anything next to our names. Let's pull together. No. Hey, where blacks can gather, it's going to be terrible. Hey, they're going to steal. Hey, stop it. The markets will be very angry. Hey, the cold front will come from the markets. Hey, it's sad. It's sad that we are underlining with a red, big, fat pen that's Tarisamu Sutukilekuwa. You must bring a white person there, then maybe there'll be order. We must talk about these things. Don't tell me to be romantic overnight here and say, oh, maybe it's black and white together. The DA hates anything that has to do with transforming this economy so that it can benefit blacks. They want to give black people vouchers. But it's a voucher. No, you're having too many BE deals. Stop. You're going too rich. Good luck to the NC to make that, to unscramble that egg.
Okay, guys, that's it. JJ, for me, here is really being emotional. He is not being factually correct, and it's easy to prove that. Let's start with his assertion concerning Bantu Holomisa and Rolf Meyer, who formed a political party. Why is he mentioning that when he talks about the GNU? A government of national unity has got nothing to do with a party that was formed by two individuals, one black and one white. And if that party failed, that is the UDM, it didn't fail because it was formed by one person who was white and one person who was black. It probably failed because people felt over a period of time that it has no relevance. If he's talking about the union of Rolf Meyer and Holomisa together, well, Bantu Holomisa is on record explaining why Rolf Meyer resigned and left politics altogether. Rolf Meyer did not go and start another political party in South Africa ever since. So there were personal reasons which were cited, which were also family related, according to Bantu Holomisa. But I can't see why that must be contrasted with the government of national unity. I think that's disingenuous. That's the first point. Hence, I'm saying he's being emotional. The second point is his infatuation with blackness. I don't understand it, and I believe strongly that it is misplaced. Why do I say that? The African National Congress, to which JJ was a member for many years, like myself, I've not been a member of ANC for more than 15 years now, but JJ was a member of ANC. The African National Congress is a non-racialist organization. It adopted a freedom charter in 1955 in Kliptown on the 25th and 26th of June. There was a Congress of 2,844 people that was held in Kliptown. Now, Professor Z.K. Matthews first mooted this idea in the Congress of the ANC in 1953. They took a whole 2 years having meetings at different provinces. We didn't have provinces at the time. They were held in houses, in kraals, you name it. They were organizing blacks. And in the Congress of the People, there was an Indian Congress Indian Congress there. There was a colored Congress there. There was what you call another party, I forgot its name, for Democrats, which when you look at that, the conclusion was that all the parties present adopt the Freedom Charter. This is why the Freedom Charter says we the people, right? And they go on to state that South Africa belongs to all those who live in it, black and white. This is the proper orientation of the African National Congress member. This is why the African National Congress in 1955 broke into two, because those who were racist like Zuma and Malema could not stay to accept that we must accept white people to stay in our country. Hence, then they went and formed the PAC. And this is the reason why the politics of the PAC and the ANC can always be observed consistently everywhere. ANC members who are genuine ANC members are not racist, but PAC members, AZAPO, Black Consciousness, you name it, they are racist to the core. You get the point? But this is how the African National Congress had separated itself. Now, let's forward then as to why the ANC would not go into a coalition or GNU with black parties. Even that statement by JJ is also incorrect factually. Why? President Ramaphosa has issued a statement. Immediately the ANC could not get over 50+1. And he said we're going to have a government. After he had accepted the results, we're going to have a government of national unity where all political parties are invited. MK Party, I've made 2 videos, if not 3, has come out publicly after that statement saying that they are not interested in having any dialogue with the ANC of Ramaphosa. Notwithstanding those statements that have been made publicly, the ANC sent its Secretary General to go to MK because they tried to send them messages. They did not receive any feedback. They sent their Secretary General to meet these political parties like EFF, like MK, and so on and so forth, right? But still to no avail. The MK was just not interested in forming any coalition or being part of any GNU that the ANC is present in. Now, I guess JJ acknowledges that when he says it's sad that the black political parties could not come together. But I am saying, as a Democrat and a capitalist, it's actually great news that they couldn't come together. Why? I believe in constitutional republic or constitutional democracy. I don't believe that parliament should be supreme over our constitution, because that will create an environment where politicians can do as they please. And also JJ seemed to have forgotten how that Zuma mortgaged our country when he was a black president of the ANC to the Guptas. And now he is saying, why couldn't these black parties come together so that there is no marriage between white people? The DA hates affirmative action, hates BEE, hates black people. These are very strong statements, extremely emotive, very divisive to be coming from a journalist that appears on TV. And I'm concerned by the fact that I'm not saying JJ should be cancelled. No, I don't believe in cancelling people. But I'm concerned by the fact that he has not been taken to task to say, explain where is the evidence that the DA hates black people. Because JJ is not supposed to sit on national television to campaign for other political parties, any political parties. He says that his show is truth to power, but this is not truth to power. This is literally propaganda. This is misinformation. When you say the DA hates black people, did you see how many black people are in the DA? Its former president before the current one was black. Just because he left doesn't make the DA a racist party. Disagreements, good people, are not evidence of racism. Disagreements are evidence that we are holding different views on a particular matter. How then did the DA reconcile itself if they are racist that hates black people in having a black president in Musi Maimane? How did they do that? Right now, as we speak, they are in this 7th administration. Their chief whip in parliament is Khwarube, right? Not Khwarube, Gwahube, right? Now, how do you reconcile yourself to that? You can't. And then he says the DA hates affirmative action. No, they don't hate affirmative action. They disagree with it. And for obvious reasons, which I would have expected a professor to know those reasons. If JJ ever comes across this video, I would like to recommend a book for you called Affirmative Action Around the World by Professor Thomas Sowell from America. It's a fascinating reading which proves beyond reasonable doubt that why affirmative action doesn't work and why it cannot work. It's empirical evidence gathered and placed together in 280 or so pages of a book. Please go and read it. And that's what we need from professors. That type of information, particularly when they have the megaphone as you do, and present publicly why affirmative action will not work for South Africa, because it hasn't worked anywhere. And please, here's the other book for you to read, The Quest for Cosmic Justice. So when you're talking about empowering black people and leaving out white people, that the DA doesn't believe in transforming the country, in the transformation that will help black people, there are certain things you can't do. The purpose of a government is really to create an environment conducive for investment. And what does investment do? The markets that you apparently despise, you say they talk about markets. You wouldn't have your job, say, without the markets. Your employer depends on advertisements to keep the station afloat, to keep the station existing. So the markets you so despise, they are responsible for the corporates that we have in this country paying tax, to create infrastructure, to create an environment where multitudes of South Africans can be employed. They can put bread on the table. So we need a balancing act here and not be ideologues. Let's leave ideology to ideologues. But when we have gone to school and we've become professors, it's very, very important that we speak truth indeed to power and not seek to align ourselves to a political ideology that says black people were oppressed and therefore now black people this, and the land. The issue of the land is addressed by the Freedom Charter. We as black people fought against white domination. And we don't want black domination. Mandela actually in his speech in before he was sent to Robben Island in the Rivonia trial said he fought against both white and black domination, right? We don't desire to dominate anybody. Affirmative action, in my view, is segregation based on skin color. That is why the Supreme Court of America, as in last year, has come to a conclusion in America that affirmative action is indeed unconstitutional because it's race-based preference. This is very, very important for you to understand. And there are also reasons why affirmative action will not work in South Africa because of the unique situation that it was the majority that was oppressed. Affirmative action has only worked in countries where the majority had oppressed the minority. Therefore, they can affirm them and bring them up to speed very quickly. But when it's the majority that was oppressed by the minority, it's impossible to implement affirmative action successfully. Then concerning the BEE, right now, the BEE, first and foremost, according to Mwele Tsimbeki, and I agree because I've subsequently investigated the same. BEE is not a concept of the ANC. It was given to them by the Nationalist Party as an idea. Now, obviously, we ought to frown upon anything that came from the Nationalist Party and ask ourselves critically, what was this all about? Because right now we can see the results that only a few blacks became billionaires and millionaires, and they seem to be the guardians of what Julius Malema will call white monopoly. You get the point? Those blacks, they seem to be guardians of white monopoly, okay? There is something called white monopoly, without a doubt. So did I say white monopoly? No, there is something called monopoly. But in South Africa, we have developed a term called white monopoly capital. Now, those blacks like Cyril Ramaphosa, like Matthews Poswa, like Sakima Gozoma, like Tokyo Sokwali, just to mention a few. Oh, Mutsipe, how can I mention him? Just to mention a few. Those blacks were made billionaires through this process of the BEE and multimillionaires. However, those individuals are a minute percentage. Black people are 80% in this country. Those individuals don't even constitute 5%. There's not even 500,000 black billionaires in this country, by the way, let alone multimillionaires, right? That's the evidence that in 30 years, we could not even reach 500,000 black multi-millionaires or billionaires through BEE, then we must accede that by the time BEE starts working, some of us who fought against apartheid would be long dead. And then the question is, if that's the case, is it really beneficial to black people, or is it indeed serving the purpose for which our former oppressors had intended? Did we even examine what was the purpose? Or just simply because it's called black economic something, then we're going to fall prey to? Are you following me? So these are the aspects that I thought appropriate to address, that we ought to understand that our country has different ethnic groups. There is 11 tribes in this country. Xhosas, Vendas, Bedis, Afrikaners, English, Tswanas, Sothos, what you name it. I've just mentioned a few that could come out of. So all these tribes belong here. There's not one that doesn't belong here. To then start arguing that white people don't belong here, it's a discourse that nobody fought for. Nobody fought. And even if there were people who, for example, the PAC, because I think the statement that nobody fought for that will come across incorrectly. I should rather put it this way, that the majority, the African National Congress, did not fight for that. But the PAC, AZAPO, and Black Consciousness may be said to have fought for white people to leave the country, right? The question is, where did this work? Did we win a war against white people? Why then would we think that Mugabe won a war against Ian Smith? That's why he kicked white people out of Zimbabwe. Did we miss the lesson that we were supposed to learn from there? Really? Why did we go to school then, JJ? Because people like you, in my view, are supposed to be convincing the rest of the country, those who are uneducated, that there is no value in what you are seeking to do. Good people, there is no value in being a hero that's going to end up dead. Now, I'm saying this to make an example. I'm going to get to my point just now. There is no value in being a hero. In my mother tongue, they say, that means wherever one is a hero, they say, that means the family of the hero is always end up crying. Why? The hero normally dies under excruciating circumstances. But Glokwala, the coward, in the coward's home, they are always laughing. They find his behavior hilarious, but nobody is seeking to kill them. Why is this important? This is important because white people are not going to roll over and allow us to kick them out of South Africa. Why? They've invested a lot in this country in terms of developing it, and they actually belong here. The people who did not belong here, good people, we're talking about 300 years ago. Do you understand the implications of that? If I have not recommended this book, I'm recommending it, The Quest for Cosmic Justice. Please read the book. It will assist you to understand that there's black people in China. There's black people in America who were not slaves, who were not brought there as slaves. I'm talking about the second generation and the third generation of people who are in England, who are black, and they were not brought there as slaves. They went there looking for greener pastures. But today, their children are called the English. In fact, their parents are regarded as the English, and nobody can chase them out. They came from Ghana, they came from South Africa. Do you understand what you are trying to do when you come up with statements like the ones that Professor Tabane has made here? let me tell you, you are dividing our country. Now, some people will say our country is divided already. Our country was a miracle that happened in 1994. Our forebears, that is the founding fathers of this country, developed the economy, never ever mainstreamed delusion of racism. This started with Jacob Zuma when he became a president. That is why to this very day he is speaking about it. That is why his protege, Julius Malema, is speaking about it. So these two individuals, the other learned from the other one. Jacob Zuma was the teacher, Malema was a student. Malema came out, formed EFF, started race hustling. Zuma is now, came out of the ANC, is doing the same race hustling. These individuals don't like the constitution, they want to change it. They don't like the ANC as they found it, they want to change it. Meaning, you can look at them as deployees. Whoever deployed them, I don't care. But you can look at them as individuals who were deployed in the ANC, did not fully subscribe to the principles of the ANC, and they sought to change the ANC from within. When they failed, they left and formed political parties. Now they are trying to create an impression that there are people in the ANC who like white people, who don't want white people to leave. The ANC never, ever wanted white people to leave because they understood the investment. They understood that once people are oriented in a certain environment, we could end up being the ones who are being exterminated. Remember that. Because when you're talking about going to war with the Afrikaners, you're talking about going to war with the Dutch, with the English, with the Americans. Really? Do you guys really have you thought this through? I'm not talking about an economic war now. I'm talking about a real hot war. Not a cold war, hot war. Where bullets are being fired, grenades are exploding. Huh? Do we really want to do that in this day and age? Simply because we can't reconcile ourselves that one, we didn't make ourselves black, so we have no reason to be ashamed of our blackness. They didn't make themselves white. They have no reason to take any pride in their skin color. We ought to look at an individual based on the content of their character, which is a speech that Martin Luther King Jr. gave, that he couldn't wait for the day wherein in America no one is looked at based on the skin color, but the content of their character, which is exactly what Rolihlahla Mandela delivered as a speech if you analyze the two speeches. What manner of people would want today, in this day and age, for us to be divided based on our skin color? Where is this coming from? Well, I can tell you it comes from Jacob Zuma and Julius Malema. But all I'm simply saying, it took years. Since 2009, Jacob Zuma has been behaving like this and spewing this poison. And that is why now he has a solid base, because he spent 9 solid years of being a president talking like this about white people, reminding us about apartheid, So this is very, he kept apartheid alive. Apartheid should have long been dead if the ANC of Zuma, because he's talking about the ANC of Ramaphosa, if the ANC of Zuma did not keep apartheid in ICU, it should long have died its natural death and been buried. But it took the ANC of Zuma to keep it in ICU, to stoke this divide among South Africans. Hence, it is shocking for me for a professor, coming back to your comments, Professor Tabane, it is shocking for me for a professor to make this statement. Do I believe that black people can do better? Sure, I do. They've been in power in this country for 30 years and they've destroyed it, particularly in the last 15 years. So surely they can do better. But do I believe that they should be allowed to run this country whilst we have white residents and citizens in this country who have demonstrated, first and foremost, they established ESCOM. It's not black people that established ESCOM. It's not black people that established SASOL. All our parastatals were founded by white people. We deny that at our own. It's delusional to deny it. And these organizations and structures were efficient. We inherited an infrastructure that was world-class. Baragwana, the Steve Bikos, our roads, national roads, we have allowed them to debilitate in our own hands. That doesn't speak very well of us. And we don't need to give ourselves excuses, but simply acknowledge that the corruption which we have perpetrated is the reason why we are here. If any reason or anything that has caused for the Western Cape to call for cessation, meaning to be recognized as a separate country, is because white South Africans began to say, hey, black people are majority in South Africa. It doesn't matter how we vote, we will never win, right? So the best thing to do, the province that we are running, and we are running with good governance, and it has got investor confidence, and it produced 2/3 of jobs for South Africa, perhaps we should just call that province a country. You get the point? That was a call out of frustration, not out of hatred. Okay? That was a call out of... These people love the country. They want to be South Africans. However, the way we go about and nonchalantly speak about corrupt principals or politicians as though we are so much in love with them, they can be as corrupt as they want for as long as they are black, we are okay with it. No, 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 no. 1,000 times no. I don't believe black people should be so much married to their skin color. You did not make yourself black. That's why you must never, ever, ever second guess yourself to anybody. You did not make yourself black. Take pride in what God made in you. But that then means you must not worship your skin color. You must not create idolatry that, no, all black people must come together and therefore this. No, God did not create the heavens and the earth that way. That's why there are white people here. That's not an error. They may have come in a certain manner, but that's 300 years, guys, ago. And this is not going to work because South Africa is not an island. We still must do business with China. What are we going to do with the Chinese? We still must do business with all the other countries outside South Africa and outside Africa. If you want to tell me, no, we can just unite and then Africa will self-sustain, where did this work? So it's very, very important. Charity begins at home. And white South Africans are as African as we are. So no, I object to Professor Tabane's assertions. They can, at best, be proven to be false. So at the very least, they can be proven to be false. At best, they can be proven to be racist. To make assertions that the DA is racist, it hates black people, it hates affirmative action, but yet you've just made these assertions, you have not proven them. That's incorrect. To show the DA disagreeing with affirmative action, that's not evidence of hatred. I'm black, very proud to be black. I don't agree with affirmative action. I think affirmative action is one of the reasons why it's difficult to get investments in South Africa. I think employment equity is an entry barrier for investor confidence in our country. I think BEE, same story. And BEE has a nefarious intent which we must all scrutinize instead of being excited that there's something called Black Economic Empowerment. Another book that you may want to read is Moeletsi Mbeki's book, JJ, The Architects of Poverty. South Africa is not where it is right now by osmosis. It is here where it is right now because of what you are proposing, of people uniting on their blackness. Jacob Zuma tried that, it failed in the last 15 years. That is why right now the people have spoken. They didn't give the ANC 50 plus 1%. They said the ANC must always work with the DA for them to run this country. That's how people have spoken. Why was the ANC supposed to unite with the MK? Why not the DA? We have not given the reason why not the DA. If you're saying because their policies are completely opposite one another, I'm going to tell you this. The ANC has a lot more in common than the DA, and that is premised on the fact that they are both constitutionalists. There's nothing more important than the respect of the rule of law and the Constitution. Any other policy can be overridden by the Constitution if it is unconstitutional. But the people that wants to change our Constitution, those people are a danger to you, your livelihood, and that of your children, and your religion as well. Don't get me started on people who think that Parliament should make the rules and parliamentarians. The president should not be taken to court by anybody. The constitutional democracy is better than parliament supremacy. Much, much better. Nevertheless, that's my response to Professor Tabane. That I believe in the democratic South Africa, the constitutional republic. I believe in a non-racial society. I believe South Africa belongs to all those who live in it, black and white. I believe all South Africans of all walks of life should be allowed in the GNU, and we should put our shoulders on the deck to ensure that South Africa goes in the right direction, to ensure investor confidence. It's no time to be politicking. It's no time for political ideologies. We must set those things aside. Who wouldn't want to see job creation? Even Communist Party wants to see job creation. So who wouldn't want to see job creation? So take the communist ideology that does not work, put it aside. Let's create employment. Are you following me? Unions, COSATU wants for it to have members, there must be jobs. So they want employment creation. Well, then, that being the case, put aside the wrong ideology of Karl Marx and ensure that jobs are being created. So constitutional democracy seems to me to be the only way to go. By the way, for your information, since President Ramaphosa was announced as the president, the rand to the dollar, the rand got better. Did you see yesterday? Did you see the changes? So we're expecting next month a drop in fuel, drop in food prices, and a drop. And this is a reality. In fact, there is a video that I'm going to do that talks to this very aspect. So there's already positivity. Leave all the naysayers concerning the GNU. We are making progress. If the GNU doesn't work, we will analyze the reasons of it not working when we get to them. But we cannot say, how are they going to unscramble that egg? That's a metaphor that is completely irrelevant. You can't justify racial connotations by making impractical metaphors, Professor Tabane. There's no scrambled egg here. There's a GNU that is based on principles which are recorded in a piece of paper by people who want to make this country to work, black and white. Why is this giving you chest pains and twins? By the way, I love your show, and I agree with most of the things you say, but I disagree with you on this one. Okay? Okay, let me love you guys and leave you. Ciao, ciao. Have a lovely day. Bye for now.